Mummy that people want to see.
Welcome to this edition of Backstage Pass with Leah Chang. I'm your host, Leah Chang. Today, I'm at Bowery Electric for the press preview of Dead Outlaw. On this edition of Backstage Pass with Leah Chang, I'm taking you inside Audible Theater's sneak peek of the world premiere musical Dead Outlaw, conceived by Tony Award winner David Yazbek with Tony Award winner David Cromer at the helm. Dead Outlaw features music and lyrics by David Yazbek and Erik Della Penna, and the book is by Tony Award winner Itamar Moses. The songs performed included Opening Ballad, A Stranger, and Something Bout A Mummy. Dead Outlaw begins previews on February 28th, ahead of a March 10th opening at Audible's Minetta Lane Theater. The cast of Dead Outlaw includes Jeb Brown, Eddie Cooper, Andrew Durand, Dashiell Eves, Julia Knitel, Ken Marks, Trent Saunders, and Tom Sesma.
Dead Outlaw concerns the adventures in life and then in afterlife of Elmer McCurdy. And the way that story plays out is strange and complicated. But we're going to perform 3 songs from the show for you, some by the cast and some performed by these gentlemen. And the reason these gentlemen are joining us is because these are the authors and the music supervisor. This is Erik Della Penna and David Yazbek, the composers and lyricists, and Dean Sharenow, who's the music supervisor. And Dead Outlaw exists because these guys play in bands together. David stumbled on this story, and over years, David and Erik began to write a song cycle about it just for fun, to play in their shows when they play with their band. And then Dean started recording them, and then it slowly, and Itamar Moses got involved writing the book, and it slowly but surely evolved into a piece of theater. We're just going to do a couple of songs from that. So the first song is the opening song of the show, it's 1911, and we are in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, out on the plains. A small group of men are gathered around a campfire. A slight man with small eyes and a sallow look emerges and begins to sing. This is the outlaw Elmer McCurdy.
When the stars are bright like these stars, so they almost hurt your eyes. It's like maybe God is singing you a song, singing you a song. And the cottonwoods are whistling, and the owls and frogs join in. The breeze in your hair, the honeysuckle air, all there, they sing, all there. The sky is black, but filled with diamonds. You can almost hold them in your hands. And up there, God is preaching, laughing while you're reaching, and that's what no one ever seems to understand. When the wind is warm like this wind, it reminds you who you are. The dew, it appears just like grateful tears. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. The dew, it appears just like grateful tears. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Ooh, I'm here, I'm here, I'm
first inspired to create the show?
Well, the story of creating the show is different than the story of getting the bug to tell the story.
Okay.
That happened 30-something years ago to me, but it wasn't until about 10, 15 years ago, right, when I started I told Eric the story, started talking about it. Eventually, we started writing about it, and then we started recording songs that we thought were kind of more like a concept album-y kind of thing. That was during COVID. And then the songs were good, and the recordings were good, and we started thinking about maybe it's time to tell the story theatrically. So, of course, Itamar would be first choice after Band's Visit. And then Cromer would obviously be immediately following that. So
it's about life and death and America and greed and fame and the importance of those things and the effect of those things.
You guys ever see The Chinese Lady?
No.
The Chinese Lady by Lloyd's was at the Public Theater with Daniel K. Isaac.
Didn't see it, but I know
but
the source material.
The source material, but in terms of Elmer becoming an attraction.
Yes.
And The Chinese Lady was that's the first thing that came to my mind in terms of The Chinese Lady being an attraction that...
That almost sounds like a companion piece or something.
Yes.
Is that a play?
Yes.
Who wrote
Brilliant
it?
play. Lloyd's, and it was produced at the Public Theater.
It's, when you go to a museum that has mummies, and you're looking at them, and there's a part of it that you're thinking, wow, that their hair is exactly as it was when they were buried.
Right.
Look at that. I can tell. There was this mummy in the Egyptian museum that I saw. It was a beautiful woman, but it was just the shell.
Sure.
But and I was pretty young, and I just remember like staring for hours, and just because it brings up questions of your identity and who are you and what's the mask you wear and what's the shell you live in, and even once you get through the shell, still who are you, and you keep going down in through the onion layers. We can't write a musical about the onion layers, but we can start the process of thinking about
Absolutely.
it. And that's why we keep saying this is a memento mori, just like it sounds like the Chinese Lady play is.
Culturally, I think it's a good time for that.
Yes.
So at my most hopeful, I think this is an important play at this moment. I think it's very timely. I hope others will feel the same way.
No one picks up the body. Antiquated embalming techniques eventually. Elmer's
desiccated in somewhere.
His desiccated corpse eventually, turns into a mummy. And this mummy enters that most magical and dignified of professions, show business.
If you want to do a sideshow, your classic 10 and 1, you've got to have a mummy to make the suckers come. It gets a man to thinking, a lump inside his throat, and that goes in the wallet I keep inside my coat. There's something about a mummy that people want to see. Oh, there's something about a mummy that looks a lot like me. We've got a tattooed lady, we've got a pickled punk, we've got a geek that runs around till he falls down drunk. A double-headed fetal goat in a bottle full of wine. Anomalies of nature keep them standing in a line. A human sense of wonder you can't always control. There's something about a mummy that really stirs the soul.
Presidents and outlaws standing face to face, a
and carved in paraffin, a comment on the race. Honest men, maniacs, noble acts, knife attacks, historic facts. Sit down and wax, but there's something out of wax won't last. You gotta have a mummy, just to keep it real. You got to have a mummy if you wanna seal the deal. Not only that, it's good to show the people what they can all expect. That wax can never capture, the fate you can't detect. You need a real live dead mummy, a real life souvenir, to show the paying public the moment's getting near. There's something about a mummy that brings it all back home. There's something about a mummy that says you're not alone. The mummy ends up in Hollywood, California, where producers and directors of film seek the praises of having a performer who doesn't talk back.
Every actor's trouble that I've ever known, wearing down my budget and my patience to the bone. Now they've got a union, benefits to boot. Sometimes they're all hungover on board and then we shoot. The best thing about a mummy is he doesn't need his jaws. But the best thing about a mummy is he doesn't need applause.
Doesn't have opinions, doesn't act for motivation, rarely needs a retake, stays right at his location, plays any role you tell him, won't make any diff. Tabula fucking rasa, that's the great thing about a stiff. The thing about a mummy is he'll never let you down. There's something about a mummy that's perfect for this town.
Where are you drawing your inspiration from?
For this? I mean, it's a true story. So, and it's a crazy true story with like full of each unbelievable detail more unbelievable than the last.
Right.
So from the moment I sort of started digging into the research, it was clear that I just had to follow where it led as opposed to impose anything really.
Right.
So the inspiration is just the insanity of what really happened. And also Yazbek's music, because he began working on the project as almost a song cycle with Erik Della Penna. And so the songs the two of them were writing were like these lily pads across the river of the story. So I could say, okay, we've got this bit written as a song, we've got that one. So yeah, the music and the story itself.
What do you hope audiences will take away from, but also gain from seeing the show?
Well, on like the most sort of foregrounded level, I think it's just a really entertaining piece of theater. Like I think it moves like a train, has fantastic music, and tells this sort of unbelievable narrative. So I hope people take that away, right? The experience of having been really, really entertained and hopefully kind of moved and made to think. But I think there's something that the show's about underneath that I think is an important reminder that is almost hard to put into words. If it were easy to put into words, we wouldn't have needed to write a show about it. But I think it has something to do, first of all, with what we value. That when you chase money or fame or sort of these short-term highs that life can offer, it ends up not filling the sort of existential hole that we carry around. And there's a karmic cost almost to chasing those things. And that underneath that, it has to do with, I think, our cultural, like in the West, our cultural relationship to death. And that there's something kind of like we try to bury it, we try to run from it, we try to pretend it's never going to happen.
Right.
And those short-term highs are a way of avoiding that fear on some level. And so I think this show is, by showing the opposite, right? Someone who chased all the wrong things, then died, and then who in death was exploited for spectacle and showmanship and another version of those kinds of things, against the backdrop of like America's Western expansion, right, over the course of the late 19th and early 20th century. Just telling that story, not hitting the nail on the head too hard, what emerges is sort of an argument, I think, about our need to slow down, think about what really matters, and that we can derive meaning from the fact that our lives end as opposed to being afraid of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm Andrew Durand. I play Elmer McCurdy.
I'm Julia Knitel, and I play Maggie Johnson.
So what excites you the most about this project?
Well, the creative team, for one. I mean, they're just so great, and this is the first time getting the band back together since band's visit. Yeah, it's really cool to get to work with these guys on top of the amazing material that they've created, on top of it being a true story that is sort of very American and old-timey, sort of a romantic phase of America that was actually kind of gritty and gross and hard.
So let's tell the audience who Elmer is.
I mean, Elmer was an outlaw, sort of. He had a tough childhood. He tried to work the jobs at the time that were really hard, being a miner or things like that. And if you didn't like claim a good spot of land in the wild frontier, you were kind of screwed. So he turned to robbing trains, robbing banks, and he never quite succeeded and was killed.
Terrible.
Yeah.
He failed every single time.
Yeah, he never made it. Never got it right.
But he was very successful after his death.
Yes.
I will tell you that. Hence the name.
Dead Outlaw. And who do you play?
I play Maggie Johnson, and I also play Millicent, both of whom are women in Elmer's life that come into his orbit in very different ways at very different times. But it's very exciting to get to play two very different characters.
Yes.
Maggie is his fiance in the Wild West, and then Millicent is an 8-year-old girl in the 1920s.
Wow.
I will not be ruining anything. There will be no spoilers to suggest that the outlaw will eventually become the Dead Outlaw. And that's when things get interesting. However, our next song is sung by Julia Knitel as Maggie Johnson. This is when Elmer McCurdy's fiancé is brought to the Johnson Funeral Home, no relation, to identify the body.
To see him here today, without shoes, without a smile, it's hard to reconcile with the man he was to me. He came into my life with his broken disposition. I had my suspicion, he remained a mystery. A stranger, a stranger, hoping for a future in our dusty little town. A stranger, a stranger. How was I to know he could never settle down? It hasn't been that long since I've been without him, but there's not much about him I can recollect or tell. A picnic in the rain, a walk we may have taken, but I could be mistaken, I don't remember well. A stranger, a stranger, never gave a reason why he came here on his own. A stranger, a stranger. Whenever I was with him, I always felt alone. together, talking about whether we should prune the cherry tree. At the kitchen table, could you pass the gravy? Should we have a baby? It was never gonna be. A stranger, a stranger held me in his arms not so very long ago. A stranger, a stranger. The man I was to marry was a man I didn't know.
Today I'm with Trent Saunders and Tom Sesma at the press preview for Dead Outlaw, and they're going to tell us all about Dead Outlaw. And
I was just saying earlier that I'm very lucky to play a historically recognizable character. I play Dr. Thomas Noguchi, the famous celebrity coroner, or I should say the coroner to the stars.
Wow.
From the LA County Coroner's Office.
And all of the quirky, crazy, and very true things that happened along the way.
It is a true story, and it's one of the things that I think audiences are going to enjoy as they watch this. They're going to be reminded over and over and over again that this actually happened. This weird, quirky story about this small-time outlaw who wanted to be something simply for himself and had his life cut short actually became that something after he was dead. All of the lives he influenced and how all of those lives influenced who he was after he was dead.
you are
I'm
Ken
Marks.
Marks
I'm
and
Dashiell
Dashiell Eves.
Yeah.
And who do you play in Dead Outlaw?
That I play a bounty of different people in the show throughout the play. So I play, for example, a young Douglas MacArthur. I play Elmer's dad. I play someone who hires him for work. I play an entrepreneur.
It is a bounty.
Yes, he uses his dead body for monetary gain.
Of course.
Yes.
And you?
We wear many hats, literally and figuratively. Same thing. Various and sundry, awkward, insecure assholes. Can I curse on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Manhattan,
you know,
cable. Yes, you can curse as much as you want.
I play awkward and exploitive white men. Yeah, that's what I do.
That's a nice thing. That's the perfect way to say it to me. So, had you heard of Elmer before?
Never. No, I didn't know this story. I have run into people who know it.
Oh, yeah?
I know when his body was discovered in 1976.
Yeah.
1976, in a fun house in Long Beach, California, as hanging from the ceiling as an entertainment device. It was a big national news story.
Right.
So at the time, people did learn about him and know about him.
My name is Eddie Cooper. I play a bunch of characters, and I'm actor number 6.
Hi, I'm Jeb Brown. I play the band leader, so I front the band and I tell the story. And I also play one of the characters, a guy who's kind of a mentor to our Dead Outlaw leading man in the world of bank robbery. Well, it's a deliciously bizarre true story, and the way it's told in our production, it becomes about everything. It becomes about life and death and love and loss and ambition and America. And there's also some really, really great music.
Hi, I'm Dean Sharenow. I'm the music supervisor.
Okay.
I'm Ani Taj, movement director.
How excited are you to be part of this?
11, if it's 10, yeah.
Yeah, super excited. The show is written by my two best friends.
Oh, there you go.
And I have collaborated with them individually for the past 30 years.
Okay.
And this is the first thing that all three of us have done together. It's a really special thing for us. And I think as a result of that connection, we're making a really cool piece of theater. The songs began just as an album. We just decided to record them. We didn't know anything was going to come of it. We started recording the songs at my studio, and we enjoyed them. And we played them for friends. They'd be like, the songs are great. And more people started to get involved. And there is a connection to Ben's Visit, not just in terms of the creative team, but in terms of the simplicity of storytelling.
Yes.
It is nothing like any other piece of musical theater. Everything is very honest. It's more like we all love film, and we love especially documentary film.
Sure.
And there is something you said earlier about it's like a documentary musical.
Wow.
And it's like nothing I have ever worked on before, and I think maybe hasn't been done before.
Okay. And what are they asking you to tap into as far as movement is concerned?
The music goes to so many different worlds, and so it really asks you to flex into a few different dimensions, some that are more show business, some that are much more pared down and simple. All of them, for me, rooted in the people that are in the room. I find that it's really important to work not with like an abstract concept of like neutral bodies, but to work with the people who are there. So my exciting work has just begun, really, in getting to know the cast and seeing how they groove, because this music has such grooves to it. So we're discovering on our feet together what it is, and as Dean said, it's a show that doesn't lie, is asking not to lie, which is so rare in musical theater, and so it's really exciting to go, okay, like how can we find a physical vocabulary in this that is wholly our own and true to the show, true to this story.
Great. Well, I'm really, really excited to see the show.
But we're excited for you to see it.
February 28th, first preview. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Backstage Pass with Leah Chang. Until next time.